This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi. After the school announcements and sports report, I'll talk to Metuchen Sophomore Janani Shivakumar about her experience speaking at the United Nations just 2 weeks ago. Then, Josh Hyman joins us to talk about standardized testing, the VHS program, and more. But first, let's start with these announcements. The principal's newsletter for the month of October is now available on the school website. Click the principal's newsletter link on the blue sidebar on the left-hand side of the MHS page to read it. There was no school on Wednesday, October 9th for observance of Yom Kippur. National Honor Society inductions will take place on Thursday, October 17th at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. Congratulations to all those who will be entering the prestigious group. PSAT testing for grades 10 and 11 is on October 19th at 8 a.m. If you're taking the test, be sure to arrive no later than 7:40. Later that day is the homecoming dance. The event begins at 7 p.m. right here at Metuchen High School. Finally, sports physicals will be taking place at MHS on Thursday, October 17th. Students planning to participate in a winter or spring sport must have a valid physical completed within 1 year of the beginning of the sports season. That's all for announcements. Let's move on to the Metuchen High School sports report. The football team, they sit at 2-2 after dropping last Saturday's contest 49-0 at home against Delaware Valley, their largest loss since 2017. Stephen Mialishin completed just 7 passes, while the defense allowed 42 first-half points. The Bulldogs look to get back in the saddle this Friday night on the road at Denellen, who is coming off a frustrating loss of their own. The field hockey team is in the midst of yet another strong regular season, sitting 9-1-1 after their most recent 2-0 victory over South Plainfield. Isabel Weiner and Haley Sullivan each had a goal in that one, while Claire Kenny added an assist. The boys' soccer team is now 5-4-1 after beating Spotswood last time out 1-0. Luke Rivera had the game's lone goal, while fellow senior Giacomo Spaziano kept the wood off the board with 5 saves. As for the girls' soccer team, they're currently on a 5-game winning streak, rising their record to 9-2-1. Very surprising for this young team. They most recently got the best of rival South Plainfield 3-1. Marin Boucher had a hat trick in the game, while Nika Rockefeller held the Tigers scoreless in goal. As for the sophomore Boucher, she has now tallied 6 goals and an assist in her last 3 games, while Metuchen has outscored their opponents 15-2 in the span. The girls' tennis team earned the number 2 seed in the Central Jersey Group 1 tournament this week and are ready for some postseason action after their best regular season in recent memory and will face the winner of the Johnson-New Providence match soon. The cross-country teams are also faring quite well. At Greystone on Saturday, the girls' team was runner-up in the Varsity B competition with an average time of 20 minutes and 45 seconds, including 4 Lady Bulldogs in the top 11 overall. The boys were also strong Saturday at the Stewart Memorial Meet. June Gestland achieved top 10 in the Frosh division. The JV boys came home first, and the varsity team knocked third. Lastly, congratulations to the Pride of Metuchen Marching Band, who continued their undefeated 2019 campaign with yet another strong performance this past Sunday at Madison High School. Let's move on now to our interview with Janani Shivakumar. Back on Friday, September 20th, recognized as the International Day of Peace, she was one of a select group of high school and college students with the honor and privilege to speak in front of hundreds of delegates at the United Nations in New York. She's back here at MHS now. It's a pleasure to be joined by sophomore Janani Shivakumar. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So how did you come about to speak at the United Nations? How did you find out, and what was your initial reaction?
So I actually found out about the project that they were launching last summer. They announced that they were accepting 10 students out of a couple hundred to be presenting at the UN about projects that they worked on addressing climate change, and specifically what they were doing to sort of promote climate action in their community. So I actually applied over the summer, and I was super surprised when I got in. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah, it must have been a surprise finding out that day. So, you're the founder of Girls Play Global, which is a non-profit that helps girls in India build self-confidence and break barriers through the game of soccer. What caused you to spearhead this organization, and how has it grown?
So I actually visit India every year, and every time I visit there, I usually meet girls from various government schools, which basically means that they come from lower economic backgrounds, and they sort of talk to me about how they were super interested in playing sports and growing that interest, but there just weren't enough opportunities given to them. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to create this organization to sort of help them grow that interest and pursue their career in sports.
Very cool. And as a sophomore in high school doing this, you usually hear about adults spearheading this type of organizations. You're, 14, 15 years
I'm
old?
14.
Doing this yourself? I mean, this is really incredible. Not something you usually hear about every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the big day arrived on September 20th, how did you prepare yourself for speaking at the United Nations in front of this crowd? I know the pressure must have been on.
Yeah, it was. So I was actually super nervous. I got up super early and took the train to New York, but my parents were with me, so I had the support that I needed. And we actually also met the UN Secretary General, so he was sitting right in front of the speakers. So it was kind of nerve-wracking, honestly, just being there. But once I started speaking, everything sort of went away, I guess.
So what surprised you the most about this experience?
So I was really surprised about how many students were so passionate about taking action and addressing the climate crisis, because I know that there's not a lot of people who are able to do such things at such a young age. And there were so many high school students and college students that were just making a big difference by doing small things in their community.
So, with this incredible opportunity under your belt, what are your plans to continue to grow Girls Play Global, as well as addressing the climate change and bringing about peace in the community in your continued high school years? Since you're just a sophomore, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
What are some of your plans coming up?
So this December, I'll actually be going back to India, and we're going to be conducting a tournament called Kicks for Climate Action, where basically we invite girls from government schools to play soccer matches while also spreading awareness about the climate crisis. So in order for them to sort of get accepted or be able to play in the tournament, they're going to need to make minor changes in their community to help solve the crisis we have at hand.
Very cool. This was Janani Shivakumar, fresh off of her experience at the United Nations. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, so when we come back, Josh Hyman will be joining us. We'll be talking about SATs and also virtual high school. I'm Eddie Kalegi. This is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optique Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optique Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptiqueUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness. The MHS Pawdcast is also sponsored by Allstate Insurance at 63 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Allstate, are you in good hands? Continuing here on the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS, I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
We're both juniors now, and
it's crazy to think about, isn't it?
Crazy to think, and hard to say too, because there's so much stuff going on junior year. I mean,
it's very hectic, yeah.
High-level classes, you've got standardized tests.
You got to start looking for colleges, picking a major, picking a job if you're not going to go to college. Just thinking about your future in general. It's while you're still a child and you're still doing all this work for high school, it can get really stressful, yeah.
Yeah, we even have recently we had the AP meeting, learning about the AP tests.
The deadline got drastically moved.
Yes, drastically moved to November 1st. I mean, they want our money.
They do want our money, and that's most likely the only reason why they moved it.
Yeah, it's interesting how they did that, but I mean, there's so much that goes into junior year, and of course if you're busy with other stuff, work, extracurriculars, I mean,
it's almost expected for kids to just tire themselves out every single day, you know, because it's expected that you take the highest classes you can. It's expected that you take all the standardized tests and the AP tests if you're doing that, and then on top of that, your teachers or your honor society, they also want to see you do extracurriculars. They want to see you do service hours. They want you to have a job. And it can get really stressful, very overwhelming at times.
And with you have to play a sport all around the year. You soccer, throwing with track. So, I mean, I'm not an athlete by any means, so I can't really relate to this all the way, but I can only imagine when you're done with the school day, a hard school day, and then you realize I still got an hour and a half practice right after school that I got to get myself all juiced up for.
Exactly, and sometimes for games, at least for soccer, I don't know how it works for other sports, but we have a game every other day. So some days you're not getting back till 7 o'clock at night, and you still have to do all your homework. So that's why it's really important. This year, I realized I can't really procrastinate like I used to in sophomore year and freshman year because of just the sheer amount of work we have every single day. There's just no place for just doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and something else I wanted to mention that I know you, and I believe your brother as well, Josh is a twin if people don't know, but you guys are both doing VHS courses if I'm not mistaken. That must be something different.
Yeah, I'm not taking my VHS course until later in the year, so I don't know what that's like exactly yet. But yeah, I was warned it's going to be a lot of work, and it's a lot of independent studying, and it's a lot of independent research and stuff like that. So if you're interested in stuff like that, like doing your own work, learning at your own pace, and learning however you want, I definitely would recommend it. But if you're the type of person who likes more structured learning, more structured class time, that's nothing against you. That's totally fine. You just learn differently. I just wouldn't recommend it because you're pretty much on your own for the entire year or half the year, depending on what you take.
And your brother is taking VHS right now. If I remember correctly, solar panel design is the class he's in right now.
He wanted, well, I don't even know if he's taking the course anymore because he wanted to do video game design, but there was a bit of a mix-up. There's a bit of a mix-up with his classes, so they assigned him solar panel design. And I'm not sure if he's continuing it right now, but yeah, you're also going to have to be ready for that. Just because you put in the form and you want to do VHS and you sign up for the class, there's no 100% guarantee, unfortunately.
Yeah, but just mentioning those two things, video game design, solar panel design, those aren't things you're typically going to have in a regular classroom in high school.
Yeah, that's the really cool part about it is that they have a lot of different classes. They have a lot of different, science classes, math classes, history classes, language classes. Like I'm taking Russian for my VHS course. That's something you really couldn't find in a lot of schools. So it's really cool that they offer these very unique or very specific classes for kids who are interested in it but can't find it at their own schools.
Well, yeah, so overall, both of us, any other junior, really anybody in the school, there's a lot of work that goes in. We all want to challenge ourselves, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, but it's always good, manage your time. Of course, we've talked about that.
Definitely manage your time. That is the big thing about this. If you're not managing your time properly or spacing out your work, you're going to be even more miserable than you already are. That's just, there's no debate about that.
You have to stay optimistic too, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna seem like you're just under an avalanche, really.
Mm-hmm.
But as you kind of get into the groove, as you kind of iron out all the summer catch-up and stuff like that, it's not going to be as horrible, and that's pretty much for all grades, not even just juniors.
Mm-hmm. The work can be stressful, but if you manage your time and you try your best, I know it's hard sometimes, but you should try your best to at least enjoy it or realize it's meaningful stuff that you're doing. I mean, it makes things easier, and if you just prioritize things, manage your time, and then what I always do, I always look forward to the breaks. I always keep a countdown in my head. When's the next long weekend coming up? I always get excited for that, but as we're right now, or it's September, I mean, the thing I always look forward to at the beginning of the year is November 1st, because there's that week where there's barely any school because of election day.
That's actually coming up, yeah, very soon.
Yes, and then we've got Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and I always get excited about Christmas and, watching cringy Christmas movies on TV.
Oh my goodness, yeah. With the creepy stop animation.
Yeah, you've either got the creepy stop animation ones or you've got the general Hallmark movie about people falling in love while discovering the Christmas spirit. But yeah, so...
that's true. You always gotta put landmarks on the year, like the next break or the next weekend or whatever, and then once you just do that, the year doesn't even seem as long. Like, once you think about it, we only have 180 days of school. That's really nothing if you just think about it a bit and you just space it out. Like you said, you're always kind of pinpointing the next break or so. If you just do that, you'll realize how fast it actually goes.
We're going to be busy, but we're still putting a lot of work in on the podcast. Well, that's about all the time we have today. A thank you to Janani Shivakumar for the interview, Josh Hyman for stopping by. Remember to follow us on Twitter at MHS Pawdcast for updates about sports broadcasts, shows, and more. Until then, I'm Eddie Kalegi. We'll see you next time. This is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.